Everyone wants to take their business, their skills, to the next level. Small and mid-sized business owners have exceptional insight into how to do this. They endure and thrive because they find ways to overcome the challenges that come their way, and they can teach us valuable lessons to apply to our own companies and lives. Stephen Nooner, founder and owner of Alkali, a company with a unique process that helps businesses more effectively buy and manage their insurance programs. And Bob Gibbons, builder of Riata Commercial Realty, a real estate advisor and tenant advocate, are two prominent Metroplex businessmen who, along with their weekly guests, will ask their and your probing questions, finding impactful solutions that will help you reach for the next level. Here are your hosts, Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons.
Welcome to The Next Level, conversations that propel business. I'm your host, Bob Gibbons.
And I'm Stephen Nooner, and we are here with a very special show for you guys today. But before we introduce our special guest, what is The Next Level? Well, The Next Level is rocket fuel for your week. This is a weekly show where we highlight and learn from the experiences of entrepreneurs and business leaders in the community. And so we just hope you enjoy the ride with us today. We like to start off every show with someone else's wisdom. So, Bob, do you want to kick off?
There's not enough of our own to pitch, so we got to use other people.
Amen.
Well, I liked the quote that was given to us by our guest today, and this is a quote from Søren Kierkegaard. I'm not sure if I said
What's that.
Yeah, I know, Gesundheit. But he said, "Comparison is the root of all unhappiness." And that's kind of interesting because, you know, in business, we're always told to compare everything, right? We got to compare this approach to that approach, see which one works better. But I guess in life, if we're always comparing ourselves to others, that could really drive you crazy after a while. All right, well.
Is that all we're going to talk about with Swedish philosophers?
Yes, the Swedish philosophers.
Okay.
Well, I've heard it actually said another way. So one of the things that I've heard, our pastor says that greed begins where your means end.
Oh.
And I thought that was really interesting because I remember always growing up as a kid and saying, gosh, if I ever had that kind of, I would never buy a house like that. I'd never have. And he's like, his point was, you don't know. And so if you want to be unhappy, compare yourself to everybody else.
Yep.
So great quote. Well, for our regular listeners, our next levelers, you guys know that we typically spotlight and highlight business owners, second stage business owners of 10 or more employees, but we are taking a slightly different approach today. But I believe it's going to add a lot of value and make a big impact. Our special guest today is the Jeff Whittle of Whittle Partners. Whittle Partners' mission is to help entrepreneurs and growth-oriented leaders build a better business. Jeff is a recovering attorney,
day by day, yeah.
A former adjunct law professor at SMU, has run multi-million-dollar businesses himself from startups to over 300 employees, and he has been a board examiner for the prestigious Malcolm Baldrige Performance Excellence Award. Say that 5 times fast.
Wow. I'm going to try. Yeah.
My favorite part of Jeff's impressive bio is that, and at least the part that makes me feel better about myself as I'm comparing myself to Jeff.
Yeah, you didn't listen to that first part, did you?
I didn't. That's why I got the dead space. I just didn't know. I didn't know what to say. But Jeff is a slow runner.
Yes.
And an average guitar player.
Yes.
So I'm banking out of those two. One of those I might be able to.
How slow?
Slower. Imagine slower than that.
Okay.
As long as you're moving. And if you'd like to learn more about Jeff, you can visit whittleandpartners.com. That's Whittle, W-I-T-T-L-E.
W-H-I.
W-H-I, sorry, T-T-L-E, and partners.com. And I'd also just like to welcome you, Jeff, as I've known you for years.
Thanks,
and
Steve.
Everyone I know, including myself, but anyone who's worked with you just sings your praises. So welcome. Excited.
You're very kind. Thank
So
you.
all that sounds really impressive. I didn't know about the law part. I'm not sure we would have invited you had we known that.
Most
but
people wouldn't.
moving right along, the thing that really impressed me the most, though, was that you played organ as a 12-year-old boy.
I did. Well,
That's the thing that impressed
That's when I
Bob.
started playing professionally. I started playing in the first grade, but I started making money when I was 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
You played for churches or what?
I did play at church. Those are not very high-paying gigs. And so,
But at 12 years old.
right, at 12, I remember being amazed. I played at these pool parties for apartment complexes, and they would pay me $40.
Oh, my.
And I would play for 3 hours, and it was just, it was great. I
And
thought
back
it was
then,
everything.
$40 was a lot.
$40 was a lot of money.
What are you saying about back then? What are you saying about
I'd
today?
still rather have $40 than not.
All right, so full disclosure here. The reason I was so impressed with that was because while some people might laugh at that and think that was kind of geeky for a 12-year-old boy, I can top that because I played the accordion.
Nice. Excellent.
So, yeah.
Now I know why
did
you were
you have a-
impressed.
Exactly.
Did you have a monkey?
I think I was the monkey.
That's great.
Maybe. So Jeff, getting right into things. So what I've noticed over the last few years is there's really been just an explosion of educational programs, different ways of learning, seminars, coaching programs. So tell me, I mean, what sets you guys apart from the many options out there?
Thanks. I think the one word that I'd use over and over is simple. This was a real epiphany for me as a lawyer, as somebody who got used to complexity and likes it. I used to think that things had to be really hard to be smart, and that's just wrong. You don't need stacks of paper. You don't need lots of letters after your what you need to do is just dumb it down and find a few things that you get really good at and you do well and you do better every day, and your business really will get better. I hope that's what separates us, is we're never going to try and dazzle anybody by having the most brilliant idea. We're just going to work with people to try and help them understand a little progress in a few key areas can make a big difference.
Well, but what you said is key areas. So that
Right.
must mean you're prioritizing those things. And while they may seem simple, we all get so distracted by the latest cool thing,
Right.
or what we think is the latest cool thing, or what we've compared ourselves to with other people. But sometimes it's sort of the basics.
Yes.
And we haven't prioritized those properly.
Some of the hardest work that we do with leadership teams is standing in front of the big whiteboard with the 100 things that they could do and forcing them to make commitments to the 3 to 5 things that they will get done, those balls that they will get across the goal line. That's the most powerful thing for some of these companies.
So let's talk about that. What different ways do you engage companies?
There are 2 primary ways that we work with companies. I do some one-on-one coaching, but less and less of that, honestly. The primary ways that we'll work with companies is if there's an owner, a business owner or a CEO who really truly feels alone at the top, they're not getting objective input from people who don't have a dog in the hunt. We work with them through a great vehicle called the Alternative Board, and we build boards of CEOs that don't compete with one another to socialize issues and to help each other grow. That's the one way. The second way is with leadership teams that have hit a ceiling. They know they should be getting better results, but they can't seem to bust through to the next level. I love the name of your show. That's what we try and help people do, is get to the next level.
Thank you.
We teach them a very simple operating system called the Entrepreneurial Operating System that helps their entire leadership team put in place a system to run their business, and ultimately that system filters down into the whole organization. Those are the 2 things we do.
So it sounds like the Alternative Board, you're really it's a peer group where CEOs get the opportunity to talk to other CEOs
Absolutely.
and kind of get some other advice on what they're doing,
Right.
whereas the EOS is more internally focused.
It is. It's more of a system that we teach. EOS is a teaching model. TAB is a facilitated model where really smart business owners come in and hold themselves accountable and make themselves do things that if they weren't coming to that meeting, they wouldn't have done on their own.
So talk me through that a little bit, because I mean, EOS is actually something that I hear a lot about right now. We work with a lot of employers, that have maybe 20, 50, 100, several hundred employees,
Right.
and very successful businesses. And when I hear them talk about EOS, it literally, I mean, it's like they just had the best meal they've ever had in their entire life or something. I mean, it's like the best business thing they've done in 10 years.
It can be really transformative, and I think what makes it transformative is that it's accessible. You don't have to have 10 pages of every single procedure in your business. It's not about that at all. It's about breaking your business down into 6 fundamental components, putting a couple of tools in places for each of those components, and things just start getting better. They do. I wish I could explain it. It's not a magic wand. There's a lot of work to do. But the system has been used, I think, now by more than 1,800 companies, thousands of days with leadership teams. And the most gratifying thing, the reason I enjoy doing it, is just watching the clients get the results.
So what kind of, you said 6 sections. Give me some idea of what those sections might be.
Yeah, absolutely. It starts with vision. Do you really have a clear plan for who you are and where you want to go? And we break that down to a tactical level. What's the most important things to get done over the next 90 days? So we call those rocks. Next component is people. Do you really and truly have the right people in the right seats? And we give you tools to answer that question. It's not just an amorphous concept. It's here's how you answer that question. Then the remaining components are data. Are you measuring the right things? Do you have the right processes in place? Do you have a mechanism for really and truly resolving issues? And then finally, traction. Do you have a mechanism for making sure that you're consistently recalibrating against your strategy and making good decisions about those 3 to 5 important things that have to happen next? Those are the 6.
And it's, I guess, iterative then. So like an engagement on that. So you said that it can be learned and pushed down. So what does an engagement look like for An
engagement looks like first starting with the leadership team and teaching them the tools. And that's a lot of fun because it's intense at first, and a lot of the things that they will do are different. We tell them you've got to do different things if you want different results. But they start getting good results, and then they start implementing the tools with their teams. And success to us looks like you get it. We call it graduation. We don't want to be with you forever. We want to teach you this system, and then we want you to learn it and ride the bicycle by yourself.
So this is not an ongoing thing that you go camp out there for the next 5 years?
No.
How long does the engagement typically last?
Average engagement is about 2 years, and over the course of that 2 years, we'll probably have 12 full-day sessions with a leadership team. The real work comes from them doing the work when we're not there. I tell them it's kind of like a golf pro. I'm going to tweak, we're going to talk about your grip, but the real value is going to come when you go hit 10 buckets of balls using that new grip.
So once they get done with those 3 to 5 items you're talking about in those 2 years or however long it takes, do you not just move on to another 3 to 5 items later?
The 3 to 5 items are in 90 days.
Oh.
Yeah, we compact that into, hey, we've got 90 days to get the 3 to 5 most important.
Crap, I thought I had 2 years to do this.
No.
Bob may not be a right fit client for you, Jeff.
But that is one of the real epiphanies is if we filter our priorities well and we hold each other accountable for getting things done, more of the right things happen. And less is more. That's one of the fundamental components of the system.
Okay, well, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to ask a question. Just because you have all the right education, credentials, experience, will that be enough to open doors for you? We'll find out what our expert tells us when we come back.
And now, Confessions of a Recovering Landlord.
This is Bob Gibbons with Riata Commercial Realty, and I am your recovering landlord. After 20 years as a landlord, I now use that experience only for the benefit of companies that lease or buy office buildings and warehouses. Today's confession: never exercise your renewal option. Now, I know that sounds crazy, right? Why would you get a renewal option if you don't ever plan to use it? Well, a renewal option is really just a reservation for your space, which prevents the landlord from leasing your space out to someone else, leasing it out from under you. Some options actually bind you to an extended term before you even know what the rental rate will be. But that rental option was created 3, 5, or even 10 years ago when you signed your lease and may not work for you today. Fortunately, there is a way, an easy way, to renew your lease without the risk of exercising your renewal option. To learn what that is, please contact me at www.texastenantrep.com. Again, that's texastenantrep.com.
Want to create a breakthrough in your business or personal life? Here's a tip. Stop shopping for insurance and insurance agents. Begin looking for a way to more effectively buy and manage your insurance. At Alkali, that is exactly what we provide. The freedom you create by changing this mindset alone will make an impact. Plus, you can stop listening to all the insurance commercials on TV and radio, unless they're funny, of course. Are you an insurance novice or just want to take things to the next level? Knowledge is power. Come join us for the single most important class that you never took in business school. We have the following upcoming classes that we teach through Collin College and the Small Business Development Center. Thursday, September 24th, Protecting Your Business 202. Thursday, October 15th, Healthcare Reform. What the health is going on? Thursday, November 19th, Protecting Your Business 101. To sign up or learn more, visit us at alkaliservices.com. That's alkali, A-L-K-A-L-I, services with an S.com.
Hi, this is Courtney Baker, and I am CEO and owner of Kids Care Therapy and Baker Management Group, and I am taking my businesses to the next level in spite of my time with Bob and Steve.
Welcome back, everybody, to The Next Level. We are here with our special guest, Jeff Whittle, managing partner of Whittle and Partners. If you want to learn more about Jeff or Whittle and Partners, you may visit them at whittleandpartners.com. That's W-H-I-T-T-L-E, partners with an S.com.
I was going to ask if you learned how to spell it.
I didn't have
break.
Caffeine earlier today.
I noticed you studying over there.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so Jeff, you were telling us about the EOS system before we went to break, and I'd like to put a little teeth into that. So give us some really specific, concrete example, if you can, of something that one of your clients actually did and how it turned out for them.
Sure, happy to. The one that springs to mind, there's a client that has had a wonderful business for 25, 30 years now, a very large 800 employee group down in Mexico. And they were seeing their sales decline and they didn't know what was going on, and they kept trying lots and lots and lots and lots of different things. What we did with EOS was we took all those lots and lots of different things, we filtered down through our process to determine what's most likely to have the most significant impact, and then, bless you, and then answer the question, what are the things that are most likely to make that happen? What do we have to do? What do we have to do to fix the sales team, get the right people in the right seats, and promote our business the way we want to? And so it's great to have strategy, but they bit that off in little 90-day pieces. This is what we will get done. And less than a year into the process, we have our first annual meeting with them in December. They've had record sales. Their profits are just expanding in ways they didn't expect them to. And the great thing about EOS is that's not because I'm so smart. I didn't tell them anything they didn't know. It's the process that forces them to answer the hard questions of, if we have finite amounts of time and finite amounts of resources, what are the things that we absolutely positively have to get done? And answering that question and then having a mechanism for there to be consistent visibility to that on a weekly basis. Are they getting done? And when people know what's important and they're accountable for getting them done, the results just happen.
So what I'm hearing is clarity, priorities,
right,
and accountability.
Yes. Yep. It all starts with making the hard decisions about what you're not going to do, and then being very, very clear about what success looks like, what will we get done, and then building a world where you make those things happen. And that's about being clear with each other about what's important, and then holding each other accountable for making it happen.
And what about when you have a company that's had, I mean, I've dealt with these big companies, and sometimes that's not an overnight flipping on the accountability switch when there's been no accountability and people have been kind of hiding out for a while.
Right.
I mean, that's to switch the momentum on that is not the same as turning it in a 4-employee company.
It starts with the leadership team. And when a company implements EOS, before lunch on the very first day, we build this thing called an accountability chart. And it's for the leadership team. We answer the questions, what are the really and truly major functions in this business? What should they be? What's the right structure going forward? What are the primary responsibilities of the person who sits in that seat? Then we put names in that seat. And so everybody's really comfortable because they try and put their name in the seat they want to be in. And then we ask the question, okay, for this seat, we put Stephen in that seat. Mm-hmm. Stephen, do you get it, want it, and have the capacity to do it? Sometimes you say yes, sometimes you say no. And then we look at Bob and we say, Bob, does Stephen get it, want it, and have the capacity to do
Watch it.
that job.
Yeah.
And so we start, that accountability shift always begins with the leadership team. We make them drink that Kool-Aid before they try and push it out in the organization.
So in an engagement that you are starting for the first time, how much time are you in there? Sort of what does the commitment of time look like for you and the client?
Full day sessions with the leadership team during a launch period. There's a 60-day period during which we'll have 3 meetings. Then we move into a quarterly rhythm.
Okay.
But they're dedicating the entire leadership team for a full day, get off site, use this process, turn off your cell phones. We're going to go to work.
Can I back up? I mean, great question, but back to what you were saying. What about when the leadership's not really wanting to be accountable? I mean, I know a bunch of lifestyle entrepreneurs run great businesses, but they maybe don't have that ambition to really be accountable themselves.
Then we're not a great fit for them, because we will put in place a system where it's clear who's responsible for what and tools for everybody to measure whether the right things are happening. We don't begin an engagement until we've had what we call a 90-minute meeting. We come in for free and we show the whole system to the entire leadership team. And we tell them, you need to understand this is going to be painful, it's going to hurt, you're not always going to like me. Do you want to do this or not? And so they'll make that decision on the front end. And usually what happens is 5 guys around the table who are ready to get things fixed nod their head. And the one person who's going, I don't think I like the way this sounds, they'll go, I'm not so sure. And they'll make a decision.
And before we move on to the next, is there a handle? Is there a starting place if they're like, okay, this all sounds EOS, it sounds great, or some of these other ways? Beyond your website, is there a way that they can maybe learn a little bit more and then?
Sure. The website has a lot of information. There's a lot of information on eosworldwide.com.
Okay.
That's the organization where people who do what I do, the other implementers, we're certified through EOS Worldwide, and that's a great resource. And my inbound marketing person would just slap me if I didn't say it. Of course, there's all sorts of wonderful things that we tweet at Jeff Whittle TX. So if you're one of those people that likes that, we're constantly pushing information and resources and links out on our Twitter account.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, I want to shift gears a little bit to a segment we call the Experience Impact.
Sure.
And so you've got a lot of experience in your career, not just in this arena, but many having ran and led businesses and adjunct professors, et cetera, et cetera. What has been your biggest breakthrough while growing your business?
For me, the biggest breakdown has been the realization that when you hang out your shingle and you have all these wonderful credentials and experiences and know-how, that a line doesn't form outside the office, right? You have to be proactive about the marketing process, which is simply letting people know what you do, and then you have to be proactive about the sales process. I've learned a lot from my friend Joe Zenny down in Austin about sales. He likes to say nobody likes to be sold anything, but people love to buy. Mm-hmm. So it's all about just being aggressive about, first of all, what do I really do that helps people? And then secondly, being honest with yourself about, am I talking to somebody I can help? And if the answer to that's yes, then that's a great sales environment. If the answer to that's no, then that just means this isn't an opportunity to help somebody.
And it doesn't even always mean, what I've learned over our experience, it doesn't always mean not no is not always no. It might be just not now.
Not now.
Because we all are on a different journey. We all have different things that we're dealing with, and this may sound wonderful to me, but it may not be not now.
Absolutely. So for me, the breakdown was getting humble about the neon sign doesn't flash over my head, pointing down at this guy's the smartest guy
You just didn't flip
ever.
the switch. And
Right. It's really hard work to find good quality clients, which are people that you really have the horsepower to help and want to be helped.
There's an awful lot of people that do that in like retail, for example. They'll open a store, put a sign up, flip on the switch, and think literally,
right,
hey, people are going to show up, and they just don't.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. You still got to get out there, beat the pavements. So how do you get business?
Most of the time I get business by someone that I've helped who tells someone else, you really need to talk to this guy.
Yeah.
honestly where it comes from.
Okay.
There are things that happen from our traditional marketing, but our best clients come from our best clients.
Where do you have to focus most to stay on track?
Personally, for me, it's drinking my own Kool-Aid. It's having those 3 to 5 things that I have aggressively filtered that are the most important for our business. I'm a classic client for me. So I can relate to how hard it is to have this to-do list that fills up 5 sheets of paper and lots of different initiatives and inboxes that bulge. For me, the hardest thing is to stay focused on the 3 to 5 things that I've committed to getting done. That's the truth.
It's really hard. One of the things that we're doing right now in our company, we put a shoebox out, and everyone in our company right now, we're writing 3 priorities for the day.
Yeah.
And we're turning them in at the end of the month. We're going to celebrate. But it really came out of an accountability thing in a group that I'm in, where I was having overcommitment syndrome, you know, and you're so busy, but you're not getting anything done. And we're in our busiest time of year, so it's been really, really powerful. We've been doing this about a week and a half, but the amount of traction I've gotten on top of being busy just by having that clarity has been really strong.
A great friend of mine likes to say, you have all the money you need. You have all the time you need. You just have to make good decisions about how you're going to use it.
So, Jeff, you know, one of the things we like to talk about is the high-low, and looking at all aspects of your life and your business, et cetera. What would you say is your biggest high in the last few years?
Wow. Biggest high would be the trip that my wife and I took to Tanzania. We were able to spend time, first of all, with each other. It was the top of her bucket list. My brother went, his wife went, my wife's sister went, and it really was a realization of how big and giant the world is and how fortunate we are. Saw lots of cool animals, saw lots of great places, but being around people who had so little and were so happy was a fabulous perspective for us once again to get.
So were you like on a safari? Were you camping outside with the deer and the antelope and the lions?
We had tents around us, but
Tents or fence?
there were hopefully both. But there were times when animals were wandering through the camp, and there were times, frankly, when we were in these gorgeous hotels. So it was a little bit of both. We didn't have to get wet if it rained, but really cool trip. That was the high.
Very cool. That would be fun.
Well, with something like that, a major bucket list thing, why don't we ask what's next? If we're all sitting here together 3 years from now, what needs to happen in your life professionally, personally for you to feel satisfied with your progress?
Thanks. I want my kids to be really happy and healthy. I want my wife to be really happy and healthy. I'd like to be happy and healthy. That'd be super. I'd like to have more clients that we've helped get where they want to go. That'd be wonderful. And I'd like to still fit in the pants that I fit in today. You know, I'd like to be as healthy as you can be at 63.
I didn't hear anything in there about being rich.
No, you know, like I told you, my friend says you got all the money you need, and he's right. I've got all the money I need. Need is a funny word.
And I saw something that you alluded to, or didn't allude to, but I know that to be fit and fit in your pants, you're pursuing Taekwondo.
Yeah. I have a breaking test for my first Dan black belt next Thursday, and then I'm hoping to test for my black belt by the time I turn 60, which will be in March.
So this just in, you guys, there's going to be a cage match between Jeff Whittle and Bob Gibbons, my co-host, right after the show.
I already thrown the towel.
Visit nextlevelshow.com to watch the live footage.
Bet on Bob.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Jeff, and thank our audience as well.
Appreciate it.
Oh, I'm happy to do it.
It's been great. If you'd like to get in touch with Jeff, again, Jeff can be found at whittleandpartners.com, WHITTLE and partners.com. To connect with us in the show, please visit nextlevelshow.com, where you'll find today's conversation as well as other ways to connect. Have a great week.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
You have been listening to The Next Level, Conversations That Propel Business with Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons. Join us every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. for more prolific conversations that will take your business to the next level.